We had a question pop up in chat about Path of Exile. Someone saying that Path of Exile had them second guessing themselves when it came to various mechanics, and how do those mechanics work in Last Epoch? I'm gonna keep gaming because I like gaming, but we're gonna talk about this at the same time. So, chat, I need you to help me. Let's talk about just a handful of things that are different in Last Epoch as compared to Path of Exile. YouTube voice. This is my YouTube voice. Feels good, man. All right, armor is a good one. Let's do armor first. Remember, if you ever don't know what armor does, you can pop open your character sheet by clicking C by default. You hover your mouse over the armor button, and it tells you exactly what it does. Armor is good against all hits, not just physical hits. It is only 70% as effective against non-physical hits, but pretty much every character in the game wants armor. I have over 4,000 hours in Last Epoch right now, and I feel like the more that I play Last Epoch, the more that I want armor on all of my characters. Armor just feels nice and tanky. Cool. What's number 2? Ailment Chance. Ailment Chance is great. You can apply more than one ailment on hit. For example, if you have a 250% chance to apply an ignite on hit, that means that you can apply, you hit an enemy, you apply 2 ignites by default, and then you have a 50% chance of applying a 3rd ailment. Most ailments stack up infinitely, not all. If you're second guessing yourself, you can always open up the in-game guide by clicking G by default and typing in the name here. There are a couple third-party websites that you can use in case you're looking up the word Doom and it doesn't show up here. EHG, you gotta add Doom to your in-game guide. What's going on? What's another good one? Resistances. Resistances are not nearly as important in Last Epoch as they are in Path of Exile. It's the same formula, but you add a different point of the formula. Basically, going from 75 to 74 resistance in Last Epoch is the same as going from 0 to -1 in Path of Exile. And going from 0 to -1 in Path of Exile is really not a big deal, is it? So if you can trim a little bit of resistance, and maybe you only have 73 Void Res or 74 Fizz Res, it's not a big deal. You can have a good, strong, endgame, hardcore character and only have 68 Necrotic Res. You would like to cap it, but it is not mandatory. It's all good. Block's a good one as well. If you block a hit, you will take damage from it. Block is a function of both block chance and block effect. Again, you hover over these in your character sheet and it'll tell you exactly how this works. If you want more information about block, you can ask me. You can also go to Tunk Lab's website. Just type in Tunk Lab Last Epoch, TUNK. He has a block effect calculator on his website that'll help you understand why block is so strong and why Bastion of Honor, for example, is such a meta item. Let's scroll up for just a moment. I got a lot of people in chat helping right here. Leech is a great one. You can leech damage over time. Most sources of leech are leech on hit, but not all sources of leech are leech on hit. So as long as it says damage leeched as health, you can leech damage over time. Dots also penetrate. In Path of Exile they don't. In Last Epoch, your damage over time can penetrate. Yes, indeed. Stacking the same effect multiple times. We have a running joke in Twitch chat that everything stacks. Holy crap. It's kind of busted. If you're guessing and you're saying, hey, like, is this thing's really good? If I proc it twice, does it stack? Like 9 times out of 10, it does stack. Not all the time, but there's a lot of things in Last Epoch that stack. And yeah, they're kind of strong. It's a great one as well. Let's see. Is crit just crit, not a percentage of the player? Is crit just crit and not like a percent of a prayer like in Path of Exile? So base crit and percent increased crit, that is how crit works in Last Epoch. Similar system. However, in Last Epoch, it is much, much easier to get base critical strike chance. So all of your skills have a base of 5. For example, my skill that I have here on the screen, this thing gives me another 10 base crit. And this skill gives me another 8 base crit. So I have 23 base crit on the skill that I'm using right now. And then I've got a little bit of percent increased crit, and then it caps me at over 100% crit. So that's what I'm using for that. Another recommendation for comparing Path of Exile to Last Epoch is a great one, and that is the meta of how you clear a map, which is kind of what I'm doing on the screen right now. When you're clearing an echo, you do not, and probably should not, kill every single monster. You kill the monsters along the way, you kill the monsters that are in the way, and then you rush to the objective. You'll see that on my minimap, I have this little arrow telling me where to go. I've got it right here. That arrow is leading to the top left, so I'm gonna run to the top left. I do not need to kill monsters along the way. The builds that, you know, map quickly and can gain experience quickly are builds that will kill monsters along the way. There are plenty of builds out there that have really good single target damage, but they don't really map particularly well. And you know what they do? The same thing. You just kind of run to the objective and you kill monsters along the way. Let's scroll through chat. Is there anything else? No local modifiers? Oh god, that's such a good one. In Path of Exile, you have all these local modifiers. Things that are like local physical damage, local flat damage, local attack speed. Nothing like that exists in Last Epoch. Last Epoch, you only have global modifiers. If something says plus melee damage, or attack speed, or shotgun hit, it is global to your entire build. I hesitate to even say anything else because it really is that simple. There is no such thing as a local modifier. Is there accuracy in Last Epoch? No, there's no accuracy in Last Epoch at all. There's only mouse accuracy. That's it. I think that's a good rundown. What do you think? Mana can go negative? Yeah, mana can go negative. It's great. There's a couple things that interact with negative mana. It's interesting. It's niche. It exists. I like it a lot. Dodge? Dodge is not particularly interesting. It's basically the same as it is in Last Epoch. Or sorry, as it is in Path of Exile. Endurance. Endurance is a great thing. You can hover your mouse and hide your picture. Hover your mouse over your health bar and it'll show you what endurance does. It's that little yellow bar that kind of flickers up there. Endurance is kind of, quote unquote, like one-shot protection. Insofar as it will apply if the damaging hit would take you from above your endurance threshold to below your endurance threshold. It doesn't literally keep you alive from one shot, but it does apply that damage reduction otherwise. Notable exception to that, things like this, because I happen to be playing a Primalist, this is not quote-unquote one-shot protection. If you have more questions about that, ask me in the ask me in the comment section of the video. Come talk on Discord, come talk on Twitch, but this is not the same as the pseudo one-shot protection that Endurance adds. Cool. Are we good? Handful of differences between Path of Exile and Last Epoch. And that's about it. Cool. Sounds good.